Welcome to the Clinical Cookout, y'all. Let's get into this hot sauce and it's controversial. A lot of people gonna be mad at me. I don't care because I do have something very strong to say. I care about everybody. Let me say that first. But in interacting with some people, and I've always had this strong opinion, I think if you can, okay, because a lot of people don't understand how to hear things. If you can, I think that everyone should have more than one kid. Hear me out because I have a hard time with only children as adults because self-centeredness is a lot. I think being able to talk to yourself, answer your own questions, and think that you're 100% right all the time is a lot. And being unchallenged by other people is a lot. And then it just like just being around only kids. I've seen them in other people in grown people's conversations. I've had only children that want me to entertain them when I see them, and they just really kind of um I don't think that they have the perspectives that people who had the chance of growing up with somebody that what you had. And I just always say, if you can, I think that people should have only more than only one kid. So that's my truth. That's the way I feel, and I needed to put that out as a hot sauce because I always talk about only kids on here, but I never said why.
Man, hell no. Wholeheartedly disagree for various reasons. So when you say if you can, I'm assuming by can you mean, you're financially stable, you physically can have more than one kid. No, for me, that takes away reproductive rights. Like if I don't want more than one kid, I don't want more than one kid. Then it's everything you mentioned about how only children tend to turn out, that also falls on parenting. The only child doesn't have to turn out that way. That's got a lot to do with parenting and how you parent the only child. My thing is, if you got parents out here that's already stressed with one child, why would you sit? Why would they have another? Uh-uh.
Stress with one child, how though? Financially or mentally or emotionally?
Take financial out because we want to make it clear if you financially capable, then cool, you have many kids as you want. So take the financial part out. But if I am stressed with if I'm already stressed with one child, if I'm already uh, having emotional issues or mental issues, anything like that, any of those things, why would I then bring in a second child?
I think you bring in the second child for the only child. That's what I was thinking. Because and the reason why I say that is because number one, I've seen parents leave only children in the world by themselves too. And then, if you have a brother or somebody that can be there with you outside of any relational issues or anything, like there's always outliers, but that's just my opinion. That's just my thoughts. And I've always said it.
So I have a
I usually
second
don't like them when they get grown.
To be honest, that's why I had my second kid, was to keep
first
my first kid, huh?
keep the first kid company.
To keep my first kid company.
Yeah,
But I
children being born into the world with a job already. That's ridiculous to me.
okay, yeah, but that's why I had him. That's why I had my second kid. But no, I do see where you're coming from, Shug, though. I agree for the most part. I think what Ashley is saying is like the mental and the emotional stress. I get it. Kids can be stressful as hell. So that's where the if you can comes in. Like if you are not mentally stable enough to have another kid, then don't. But I do think there is a benefit of having more than one kid in terms of the social aspect of it. But but also there's more opportunities for your legacy, your generation from there too when you have more than one kid. You never know what each of them are gonna do. I'm just saying. So I'm with Suge on this one. For the most
I had cousins who was around me all the time. I ain't with it.
That's because you were only child. Y'all are oblivious to the impact that y'all have on the rest of the world.
I begged my mother to have a baby all the way up until I was about 12, and then I stopped. I was like, no, never mind. Don't do it now. It's too late. Don't do it now.
Yeah. Then you have two only children, and
don't do it now. But I wanted to sit, and I do have siblings. I mean, my dad had kids with his wife. I have my sister. My sister lived with me now. I'm close to all of my younger siblings, but yeah, no, I just too many other factors in that. The main one being I don't. Yeah, that have another child if you can. I just can't wrap my mind around that.
Well, I'm saying that I agree with Suge when I'm thinking of the if you can caveat. Like if you can't, don't do it. But if you
Yeah.
can, like why not? But then there's also, thinking about the household, right? If you have more than one kid in a two-parent household, it is likely to be a little bit more easier, considering, you may not have that much outside support, but it may be more easier than if you have multiple children in a single parent household. So we are going to dive into our hot sauce where we are talking about single parents and how tired they can be. So let's get into that.
At the cookout, we got just what you need. At the cookout,
All right, y'all. In our main dish, I'm going to explain my stance for the hot sauce. So, some people I know, they don't have necessarily, I know a lot of only parents. Okay, let's just say that single parents, I'll say that. And it is difficult with having their children or their child and being a single parent because you don't get the time to yourself because it's up to you. Nobody's coming. You don't necessarily get as much help sometimes, depending on if you're a military family or whatever kind of family that you come from. Some people don't come from families that get help. And I noticed that there is a lot more stress now in a two-parent household. Ideally, you have somebody else that you can kind of bounce that stress off. You have checks and balances. I know my husband and I, we do checks and balances because nobody is coming. It is up to us. And I just wanted to highlight that there is a significant amount of stress that single parents have that could be exacerbated by having only one child, or it could be exacerbated by just being a single parent, period. So I want the aunties to weigh in on that with me.
The exhaustion of being a single parent. My mom was a single parent. So my mom had a village. So she was a single parent. I'm an only child, but she had a village. I would go to my grandmother's house. I would spend time at my auntie's house, my auntie and uncle's houses. So she had those people in her life who supported her. So that's one thing. But the exhaustion of being a single parent, like right now, my husband is overseas on assignment, military family, like Auntie Shiv said. I never call myself a single parent because I'm married. I am single parenting right now, but I'm not a single parent. So I'm understanding what it is to be by yourself with your children. And in that space, that's why I felt the way I felt with the one child thing. Like I have 4 children. I'm extremely exhausted. I am taking kids everywhere. Practice here, practice there. Somebody got something to do every day, sometimes multiple kids in one day. That is exhausting. So I feel like if it was only one kid, that's a little bit different. It might not be as exhausting as they get older, but it's exhausting. And it's really hard as a single parent, I think, to have a space to just decompress and not be exhausted. You're always exhausted until those kids get older.
I also come from a single parent family home. So exhaustion, it was never talked about with my mom, but I can definitely probably say, if I were to take a guess, I would say she was exhausted. I was not an only kid. I have a biological sister. So I have step siblings from my dad, but biologically, who I lived with was my sister. Or I lived with my biological sister. So um, I don't know, like the exhaustion piece, I'm sure my mom experienced. She did have a village. So my grandma, my aunties, and all that stuff helped out. But I don't have any children. So I cannot speak to being exhausted or being exhausted when it comes to children. But I'll tell you one thing, it's already exhausting to live as an adult. So I would probably never have children because if I could barely, I mean, literally, people want me to work 40 hours a week, eat right, shower, go to sleep, be a part of community functionings, literally try to exist. And they want me to take care of a kid too. I could barely even take care of my hair.
Yeah.
I can't even keep my weight down. And
This
y'all
shit-
want me to take care of a human being? Like, are y'all? Is it crack? Because I think it's crack. That's what I think it is.
No, because what you're explaining right now is like you work the 40 hours a week, right? But for a parent, you get up and you're either dropping your kids off at school or camp or whatever they're doing. or you're waking up to get them ready for them to
No.
go to the bus, and then
No.
you're working your 8 hours, and then when you get off, you don't go straight home. No,
That sounds
you
like
go meet the kids, or you meeting the
Yup.
kids at home.
Y'all
That's why
saying
she
hell is
yawning
hot.
right now. She yawning right now.
Hell is hot. There's no way hell is hotter than this. There's no way, because I cannot get up. I can barely get up out of the bed. So you want me to get up and dress somebody else? And I can't even get my wig on fast enough to get out the house and be on work on time?
But people are doing it by themselves, okay?
Hell is hot.
People are doing it. And
No.
they're doing it by
I'm
themselves.
gonna be honest. I'm doing it by myself right now too. Kind of like Auntie Ashley was explaining. When my husband's not here, then I'm the primary parent. So I'm not a single parent, but I'm doing everything on my own while he's not here, and it is extremely stressful. And it's exhausting. Not just like physically exhausting, where you're just tired from running all day long. Because my kids are kind of young. They don't take naps, and they don't chill. They don't want to chill. They want to go outside and play when we get home and all of this. But it's also like mentally exhausting, and to the point where it starts to affect my interactions with my kids and my interactions with other people, and even my own self-care. So when I'm hearing y'all say the word exhausted, I'm thinking of like all of that. Like they say something to me and I snap back at them real quick. That's not normally how I parent, but because right now it's all on me, you're irritating the shit out of me. You've been in my face all day, and you say something to me and I'm snapping back at you. And then I go to work and I'm already irritated because I don't have nobody I can call to go pick up the kids. So I got to go get them after work. So now I'm irritated with my clients at work, like trying to rush stuff and getting mad because they're taking too long. You know what I mean? So it's just like it affects you in all these other areas. And I think that's the part that makes it stressful and difficult to navigate for parents who don't have someone else to lean back on.
Yep. And that's what I'm talking about. So studies show that single parents have higher levels of stress. That's and I don't demonize for this, but that's why a lot of kids are they might get to that whooping faster. They might get to getting in trouble faster. But then also being a single parent, you can't be on guard all the time, right? So you might get teenagers that are sneaking out of the house more because there's not as much supervision on the other side, or that are looking for love or skipping school because you can't. And I ain't gonna say you can't, because people doing it every day and they're thriving and they're raising beautiful, healthy, amazing, functioning adults in society, myself included. But there was a lot of stuff that I did that had there been another check and balance, I probably wouldn't have been getting over on everybody. So there is a higher level of stress. And like you said, you've been in my face all day. I need you to move. I need time to breathe. People are not getting time to breathe, and it does affect your mental health.
Yeah.
And
I
then
see a lot of that from a lot of moms that I talk to about the mental capacity that's often taken up, and how much, even women who are married, how much mental that goes into this when it comes to not only raising kids, but having to keep everything together. Like, okay, they got to be here, they got to be there, we got to do this, we got to do that, and how much, that they take on. So all praise to y'all.
And then Suge and Amber bring up another point when it's the added layer of stress too, because Auntie Suge just mentioned all the things that can happen when it's a single parent. Auntie Amber just mentioned how she notices a difference in her parenting when it's just her there, when her spouse is on military assignment. Then the added layer of stress there is you really start to feel guilty and you really start to call yourself a bad parent. So that's another layer of stress. It's like I'm a horrible parent. Like I'm by myself, I'm messing up.
That is very, very.
I wanted to ask y'all a question. Now, y'all can do this in another episode if you want to, but I didn't know if it went along with this. But would y'all, you know how medication come with side effects and they put it on the side? Like, okay, here's this, and this. If somebody told you everything that came with motherhood, would y'all still have kids?
I would.
That's a hot sauce for another episode.
Okay. Okay.
Put down. I'm writing that one down.
Okay.
So, but no, that is a very good question, Keish. But one thing you did point out is that it is stressful. Being a parent is stressful, and being a single parent is probably even more stressful. I always call them the unsung heroes. I watched my friend do it, and she doesn't have support from the dudes that helped her make the kids. They just like do their own thing. You know what I mean? Like, and I think for a mother, and I'm not talking about men right now. I'll get on them later on. That'll be another episode. But for a mother to actually have to do it by herself, we feel like I gotta do it because I carried this baby inside of me. I'm not gonna spit somebody into this world, and I can't just leave them to the side. But some people can. So then you force some people are forced into single motherhood, and it's not what they signed up for. And so then I kind of feel bad. A lot of times I babysit because I know, like, okay, it's got to be hard out there. If it's hard on me as a married person, it's hard out there for you. But even as a married woman, like, nobody be trying to babysit for me. I can't get help. People don't help me, like, because I'm not or a single woman.
Yep. People assume married women don't struggle as parents because you got that partner there, but they forget that not every married woman has a present partner either. That's a whole nother topic. Every two-parent home don't mean it's two present parents. It just means it's two people in the house. And go ahead.
Go ahead, Ashley. Sorry.
And then, oh shoot, what was my thought? Oh, it went around. And then like my mom, and this is the reason why I said if somebody just want to have one kid, let them have one kid. My mom and my dad were together long enough to have opted to have a second child. My mother didn't do that because I think she knew for herself, I'm not doing this with two kids. I'm gonna focus on my one daughter because I don't know if this gonna work. So I'm gonna focus on my one child and that's it. And I respect that. And it was hard for my mother even with the support.
And I think I know Auntie Shook said that some single mothers, they didn't have a choice, like single parents in general are forced to be in single parents. But you also have single parents that have made the choice to be single parents as well. Yeah. Like they choose, and there could be a number of reasons. Either you're bitter about it and you don't want your baby mom or baby dad involved, or you don't think that person is a good person to be around your kids. Because I've seen where there are toxic situations where parents are like, is it bad for me to make this decision to not have their biological parent in their life? But there are some times where they make a choice. And I think either way it goes, whether you're forced into it or whether you decide to do it, it doesn't make it any less difficult. And from my understanding, the villages now are starting to disappear. Like you're not getting as much support as you did back in the day. I'm thankful for my family because my mom will be coming through. She wanted them old school, so she's going to be here to help however she can. But a lot of people are not getting that support now, and that makes it even more difficult. So right now, I'm just speaking to the people who are part of the support system or part of the social circle of single parents. If you have the capacity to take that kid every now and then, just for an hour or two, like just check in and see if that's something that you can do, because you don't know how much that could mean for the single parent, whether they chose this life or whether they were forced into it. It could still be helpful regardless.
Glad you said that, because I'm an auntie and I do that for my sister, and I know that she is a exhausted single parent, and me and my mom step up. I'll take my nephew here and there, make sure he's taken care of, just so I can take that mental burden off of her. So I definitely want to say shout out to all the auntie mommies that are also helping out in that village.
What Auntie Amber was saying, don't even ask, because you still have single parents, because you got individuals who struggle to ask for support and help. You might ask them, you want me to take the baby? And they might say, no, it's cool, I got it, because they don't want to even appear like they don't have it. Just be like, look, I'm going to take the baby if you're cool with it. If they trust you enough, just be like, I'm going to come pick the baby up. I'm going to come pick him up, pick her up. We're going to go out for ice cream or something. I'll bring her back in like an hour and a half. Just do it. If y'all close enough, just do that. Don't even ask.
And help them people with multiple kids too. Let me tell y'all what happened to me. I had my last baby, right?
No, you're not allowed, because you got about 10 of them. So you're disqualified.
No, I'm disqualified.
You chose to, because you can. You good.
You disqualified. I think 3 is the maximum. After 3, that's it. You done did it to yourself. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Listen, that's how people was feeling. I had my last baby, right? And I was like, they was like, you need anything? And I hate when people like, you need anything? But damn well you ain't prepared to do nothing. So I say, yeah, I do. I need some meals. Like, cook for me. I'm tired. It's a whole bunch of other kids, and I got this newborn baby, and it's just me. Cook for me. And they was like, well, I thought you had it. This is like number 5. I was like, that's so disrespectful. Like you can't assume that people with multiples have it. Now, I'm not saying that just because you choose to have multiple kids doesn't mean that you should have to suffer. I'm just saying that if you give your child a playmate, then they might not be so much on you. I be getting these kids over here like, hey, I want to can you play with me? No, I'm not going to entertain you, little person. There are 4 other people in this house to entertain you. Like that's the bane of your existence. What I did, there were 7 of us. We entertained each other. Go and find somebody to entertain you.
They have a child a playmate that can't leave your house. They your child. That a playmate comes to visit and go home. You get
no, the playmate wanted me to entertain them, bro. Like come from single child over here used to the parent being like, Mom, play with me. I'm like, no, there are 5 people in there for you to entertain you. You go and choose one of them right now. But
at least you're providing that support for somebody who needs it.
I do. That's what I was going to say. I do provide support for people who need it, but also us people with multiples and, mothers and dads and stuff like that. We also need help too. So if you can be a part of somebody's village, because they're saying that generations are not what they used to be. That's because the village ain't what it used to be.
Half the time the village ain't even fucking healthy. Shit.
And half the time parents want the village to do what they want the village to do instead of letting the village do what they do.
That's true.
And then tell people what to do. Let them help.
Well, my village, do what you want.
And Amber,
also remember, you can create your own village. I think village back in the day was like mostly family, maybe like a neighbor here and there. But we got friends. Like I already know I could call up Keisha and be like, hey, can you keep the kids for like a couple hours if I was in town? You know what I mean? Like you got friends, you got a community, you build your own village. It doesn't have to be your parents and your cousins, aunts, and uncles. It can be whoever you want it to be.
My kids have Keisha tied up.
Auntie Amber, can I just say, because you said after 3 children, it was a choice, and now you don't need no help, because I still don't need no help. I had 4.
You don't need no help either.
My IUD. He wasn't supposed to be.
No, I think after a certain amount of kids, it's more difficult for somebody to say like, oh, I'm gonna come watch the kids for you. You know what I mean? Like if somebody like me who works with kids, of course, I'm cool with all 5, 10 of them at Suge's house or at your house. Like we good. But after 3, I think it makes it more difficult depending on the ages. That's all I was saying. But either way, offer the support. If it got to be 2 friends that comes to tag team, like let's go over to Suge's house and we're gonna watch all 10 of the kids for her while she goes out to get her hair done. I'm just speaking for the future. That's all.
I'm just gonna say 2 backs. That's 2 backs, 2 badass kids. Okay. Now I know I don't normally call kids backs, but I'll use that because I'm being silly. 2 backs equals my 5. So,
okay, there you go.
Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Let us know what y'all think. What do y'all think? Do y'all think every person, if they can, should have more than 1 child to give their child a permanent playmate? Or do you think, no, 1 is enough? It's cool. Let us know what y'all think in the comments and make sure you join us next week.